Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Nikki Cavaney, and I am a Florida-based realtor and short-term rental expert. I started in the world of vacation rentals when I was 17 years old, and it's been almost 20 years of an incredible journey, lots of learning, lots of growth, lots of mistakes, good lessons learned, and I am just loving every step of this. And, I decided to create a course for my following and be able to bring you guys all the things that I've learned over the last couple of decades and really help you start to build and scale your own rental investment portfolio. This came out of, the last 5 years, I've done about 500 or so deals specifically for short-term rentals. And along the way, there was just so many different scenarios and things that I have learned. And I get asked a lot of the same questions over and over again. And I think that this is going to be a great platform for, us to help each other build a community and, find others to create partnerships and for us to all grow. My passion is helping people create freedom. So financial freedom and freedom in every area of their life. And, I think that real estate is one of the most powerful ways to do that. There's really no greater asset that you can invest in that's going to really bring you all the freedoms that real estate can bring you. So why short-term rentals and where are we going with this? So short-term rentals really blew up in COVID. Now, when I started doing short-term rentals back in 2005, there was no Airbnb. There was VRBO, but, we had to do direct booking. We had to have our own websites. There wasn't a lot of social media going on then. I think Facebook was just starting. I think we had MySpace. So it was really just like your own website and creating a name in the community and creating a brand that people could come and return to. So my short-term rental journey back then, I was 17 years old and I had just graduated high school and I really knew nothing. I knew nothing about real estate, nothing about design, nothing about vacation rentals. And I was excited. And I'm from St. Augustine, Florida, where there is only hospitality industry. You either work in hospitality or you work in a restaurant. There was no other industry. And so a lot of people ask me, how did you get into that? Well, it was just the only thing that I could find for work as a 17-year-old with no experience. So I started out, running a 132 unit beach vacation resort, and that really set me up to be who I am today and to be able to do all the things that I do. So when I was starting back then, things were not so much online. Everything was in person. So we actually had people that would drive by our condominium complex, come in, take tours, and then decide to book it, right? And we do have in Florida a large snowbird community. And then of course, spring break and summer is always really popular. The most tough time of year is hurricane season. So we're gonna go into a lot of different things in this course. We're gonna actually set you up to be 100% self-sufficient and successful in growing your short-term rental business, okay? So from this course, you're gonna get from A to Z everything that you need to know, every step, every link, every checklist, absolutely everything that you're going to want and desire to make this happen for you, okay? So some things that I do, I want to tell you about my story and how I can help you and all the things that I offer and really how I got to this point. So, I told you that when I was 17, got started in the industry, and I worked at that complex until I was 21, and it was extremely stressful. I was running the property all day long and doing everything from managing guests, check-ins, check-outs, all the key management, overseeing the vendors, the cleaning, the maintenance, making sure the grounds were good, kicking people out that would sneak in, all the things that were required, managing the website, answering the phones, accounting, negotiating rates, and dealing with broken refrigerators, and just all the things that would happen during the day. And then in the evening, I've always been very determined, always had an entrepreneur spirit. And in the evening, I would actually service the properties in two different ways. So along the way, I saw a need, number one, for staging and design. Couple decades ago, staging and design is not what it is today. Now people have full-blown multi-million-dollar businesses that do design. Back then, it wasn't as common. And so I saw a huge need for design. And what would happen is my clients would call the front desk and I would answer the phone and they would say, hey, the units are getting really competitive and everyone is, starting to make their units look really good and remodel them. And I just want to refresh mine. I'm not ready to remodel maybe, but I do want to make it look better, make it stand out so I can get those bookings. And I would say, well, I could probably go in there and make it look nice. And, again, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I had a mother that was super into design and she would move every couple of years when the walls got dirty. So I got to see that process of her always making a new space look beautiful. And so I started doing staging and design and I was very into it, loved it. So run the property all day and then in the evening I'd get off and I would go and I would refresh and redesign. And back then, there wasn't a lot of furniture stores. If you've ever been to St. Augustine, it was kind of like a ghost town back then. Now it's really changed a lot, but we didn't have furniture stores. We didn't have any of that. I'd have to rent a van, load it up, go to Orlando just so I could buy all the furniture, bring it back, and then spend a week or so, setting everything up and redesigning everything. And, I just made it happen no matter what. Then I also saw the need for vendors. Over the years, I managed many different cleaning crews there. And one thing about cleaning vendors is, they all start out really good. But if someone's not holding them accountable for their work, they tend to slack off. And so I saw a need for that. And so I actually had another business where I would, service the properties and clean the properties after hours. And, that was great. I'd enroll all my friends, they're all high teenagers, low 20s, and enroll them to come and clean the properties. And, we were making great money running the property during the day, servicing the properties at night with my two different businesses. And, that was all before I was 21 years old. Unfortunately, what suffered was my health. And so by the time I was 21, I was extremely stressed. I was burnt out. I was extremely overweight. I was not taking care of myself. And something happened that really changed the course of my entire life. And I'm very grateful for that. But I actually almost died on campus at work. And, from that point, it made me really take a step back and be like, what am I doing? Why did this happen? And I started to understand at a young age, I didn't come from a family that took care of their health, came from a Southern family and everything was fried and covered in gravy. And, nobody really talked about their health or their fitness. And so taking a step back after that and taking some time away from the industry helped me really understand how important it is to take care of ourselves. Because if we don't have our health, we really don't have anything else. It doesn't matter, how many properties you have or how much money you have or how many investments you have. If you don't have your health, you really can't do anything else in life. And so actually took a little detour from property management. I went into default mortgage servicing for a large corporation that we all know, and that taught me a ton. And I later went on to have a health and wellness business. I owned many different commercial locations, little healthy cafes, did a lot of health and wellness coaching virtually as well as in person. And I've helped, at this point now, hundreds of people get healthy. And it's just been an incredible journey. Through those different experiences, learned a lot about mentoring people, coaching people, and how to motivate people and how to build teams and, how to make all the operations work along the way. And then about 5 years ago, I got back into the vacation rental industry. And, along the way, I would stay in vacation rentals and I still loved the lifestyle of vacation rentals. But 5 years ago, I got committed to, really growing my local market for property management services. And, it's been over 500 properties in the last 5 years that I have helped start and maintain and manage and make successful here in Northeast Florida and really in all of Southeast U.S. I have properties from North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, and just really working in this part of the United States. And it's been an awesome journey. I have learned so much. My clients are, really savvy people. They're investors, real estate investors. They're doctors, they're attorneys, they're CEOs, they're high W-2, high net worth earners, and they want to maximize their income. One thing that is synonymous across everybody that I have worked with, every person that I've tried to help, is everyone is trying to, get to that freedom. They're trying to find that place where they can create passive revenue for themselves so that they can spend time with their family and so that they can have time freedom. And I think that that's one of the most beautiful things about vacation rentals and short-term rentals if you do it right. Now you can really do it wrong, and we're going to talk about that, all the things not to do too. But short-term rentals is one way that you can really be successful. And, you can invest in many different types of businesses. You can invest in stocks, you can invest in crypto, you can invest in anything that you want. But I think that vacation rentals, short-term rentals, really the same thing. They are critical to having a complete, diverse portfolio of investments that, are really going to take you to that next level, that are going to help you achieve that freedom. And we're going to talk about all the different ways that happens. It's not just cash flow. It's not just residual income. There's so many other benefits to having short-term rentals. So that's a little bit about me, my story, how I got here. And I just absolutely love doing this. So thank you so much for being a part of this and, being one of my students. I would love any of your feedback that you have. If we're going through this course and you're still hungry for more, if you need more help, if you have questions, let me know. I would love to be able to serve you and give you everything that you need and more. So we're going to talk about some course objectives and things that, I want you to take away from this course. If you do this course and you put these things into action, okay, you're going to have a successful vacation rental. Some other things you're going to get out of this is, first of all, how do we find those properties? What are the best properties? How do we analyze if that investment is a good investment? Does it give us a good return? And a lot of people will come to me and say, Nikki, I want to do short-term rentals. What's the best property to buy? Well, that's a really broad question, okay? Because everyone has a different financial goal and everyone's at a different place in their life. And it really depends on what your short and your long-term goals are. So I really encourage you to think about where you're at now, where you'd want to be in a couple years, where you want to be in 5 years, where you want to be in 10 years, 20 years, and what does retirement look like? You've really got to get good. If you're going to start investing in real estate, investing in short-term rentals, you got to get good at future casting, at foreseeing the steps and planning those steps ahead so that you can really truly set yourself up for success long-term for that vision that you have for your life. And I'm going to help paint the picture for you. I'm going to help you understand, what that vision could be. And, if you're like me, a few years ago, I knew how to run vacation rentals, but I didn't even understand, oh, wow, maybe I shouldn't buy this property in my personal name because then I won't be able to purchase another property. I need to make sure I have a business set up so that my personal debt to income isn't affected so that I can continue to scale. Things like that I have learned along the way that I'm going to give to you that help you foresee that future and really prepare and plan. So we're going to talk about how to find those cash flowing properties, how to analyze the deals. I'm giving you guys all of my tools. You're going to have my spreadsheets, my documents, my checklist, my download. You're going to have all of that good stuff. It's all going to be in the downloadables for you. Okay. We're going to talk about, okay, once you found the right property, you get it under contract, you purchase that property. We're going to talk about the phases of purchasing a property. I also do real estate. So I'm going to help you understand contracts, addendums, contingencies, help you understand what you need to think about, before you purchase the property, when you're under contract, and after you've closed, and how to really maximize that time. One thing I want you to take away right now is every day that your property is not live and listed is a day that you're not bringing in hundreds of dollars into your business. You have to really think about your short-term rental property or home, a condo. You have to think about that as that is a storefront, that is a commercial business, and you need the doors open every single day. Every minute matters. And, there's an urgency that comes if you really want to maximize that revenue. So having that business mindset, I'm going to talk to you guys about that. We're going to talk about what that mindset needs to look like and also what's holding you back, because many of you are going to take this course and you're going to do nothing. You're going to buy this course and you're not even going to use it. You're going to, I think about 4% of people, maybe even less, when they purchase a learning course, actually complete it, and then even less take action. And I want to help you not be afraid to take action, because this is a big deal. You're literally putting, thousands of dollars into a property and launching a real estate investment business. And, I want to help remove all the barriers so you feel completely confident to do that. So then we're going to talk about all the different financing strategies. We're going to talk about, buying in a personal name versus buying in a business and how you can do that, how to just, maybe get one property. We're going to talk about house hacking. So that's a great way, to take advantage of living in a property and renting other units. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, how to furnish that property, how to design that property, how to make sure you're setting it up. How you set up a vacation rental is completely different than how you would set up your primary residence. So we're going to talk about planning that out, when you're under contract, when you've actually got that property and you're going to be buying it, you're going to be starting that design and that furnishing process right away. We don't want any delays to you getting your property launched, okay? We're also going to talk about, how once you've got that property bought, you've got it furnished, how do we get it listed? How do we get it live? How do we write the copy? How do we price it? How do we start to market it? How do we, once we have guests, really make them excited to be there and make them feel welcome and accommodated so that they want to return and also want to leave you a 5-star review. So we're going to talk about 5-star guest experience, 5-star guest communication. This is really, at the end of the day, a hospitality business. So if you've not spent any time recently in a nice hotel, I really urge you to go spend some time in the lobby or the bar and just see how, those people treat you. How do they speak to you? Because they are trained to give 5-star hospitality. Okay, you got to go to a good hotel, but how do they operate? You want to really go and see what your competition's doing. And now hotels really aren't direct competition to vacation rentals, as it's a really different type of client and type of stay. And if you've ever stayed in a vacation rental, you know that it's really different experiences from staying in a hotel to staying in a vacation rental. But it's just good to know your competition. So we're going to talk about also building out your team. Two of the hardest things I would say for vacation rentals is starting, really just getting started. And then the second part is having a team that you can rely on to make sure that your property is staying in tip-top shape. It's getting cleaned quickly, that's being maintained. If you own a home right now, or maybe even if you're just renting, one of the hardest things I would say is keeping our homes in pristine condition. There's always something to do. There's always a project that needs to be done, right? It's the same thing if you have vacation rentals. There's always something that could be done. There's always improvements that you want to make. I just got done with like a almost $20,000 landscaping project at my home, and there's still more to do. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've just spent $20,000 and there's still more things that I want done it's not where I want it to be. So knowing that this is a business that's going to require ongoing capital and ongoing capital improvements, as you go and as you're earning income, you have to think about that and know that as you go along this journey, you're going to have to reinvest in your business so that you can make it the best that it possibly can be so that you have that max ROI long term, okay? We're also going to talk about long-term financial planning and how tax strategy is your ultimate leverage. People get into short-term rentals for a few different reasons. Number one, travel, lifestyle. You now have a tax deductible property that you can go to and enjoy and soak up that lifestyle, whether you're at the beach, the mountain, the lake, an urban market, a resort, a ski resort, wherever you are, you can go and travel to that property and enjoy that lifestyle. So that's one of the big reasons. Second reason, again, cash flow. Maybe you're profiting $500 or $1,000 a month profit from each of your properties. That's extra income that you could eventually maybe replace a W-2 with, down the road. So lifestyle, ability to travel, enjoy your property. Number two, cash flow, right? You really get to start to increase your residual income, your passive income as you have properties. Think about, you have 10 properties that are producing $1,000 in rental profits per month. $10,000 a month is, usually for a family, typically a good salary for you to be able to retire on and leave that W-2. Maybe not for everyone, but that's at least enough so that you could cover the majority of your living expenses if you're like a smaller family, 3 or 4. So that cash flow is really great. Then you have that leverage. So when you have property, owning real estate gives you leverage because as that property appreciates in value, you can do creative financing strategies. HELOCs, home equity line of credits. You can do cash out refis. So let's say you have a property that appreciates over a couple years, $100,000. Rates drop 0.5% or 1%. You can refinance that, get all that equity back out in cash. That's tax-free money. Debt is not taxed. That is incredible leverage that you can have, right? So we've got 3 reasons so far. We've got the lifestyle, we've got the cash flow, we've got that leverage. One of the next greatest reasons is the tax strategies and reducing your taxable liability. Let's say, for example, I just helped a client. He makes about $250,000, between $250,000 and $300,000 a year. Well, at that tax bracket, you're paying quite a bit of taxes. Him setting up his first short-term rental property saved him about $50,000 in taxes, right? Because of something called cost segregation and depreciation. We also currently have some opportunities for bonus depreciation that is phasing out. So we're going to talk about it a little bit, but that's really the top reasons why someone would want to have a short-term rental. I almost forgot one more is retirement strategies, right? So I see a lot of people maybe just buy one property. They're like, I live here, let's say Atlanta. I want to buy a property. I know I want to retire near the beach. I'm going to purchase a property in Palm Coast, Florida, and I'm going to, just have other people pay my mortgage through my short-term rentals. And then, when I retire, that property will be paid off. I'll move down, sell my Atlanta home, and then I'll have a home that's paid for. I only have to worry about taxes and insurance, and someone else has paid that property off, right? So a lot of people will use short-term rentals for those tax strategies, okay? For the retirement strategies. So last couple of reasons why you'd want to have a short-term rental is, if you are really going to do this, there is a tax loophole specifically for short-term rentals. It's called real estate professional status. And this allows you an additional tax benefits for being the one that manages your property. So you want to talk to your CPA, your tax accountant. I'm actually going to have my CPA on sharing all about that. So you guys get it right from him in this course. But you want to talk, you can hire him or talk to your personal CPA about your personal strategies for getting that real estate professional status. You basically have to qualify for hours worked every year on your properties to get that status, but it's great leverage, in trying to get that maximum tax benefit, okay? Now, also, something else to think about is, you have your properties, you can go and stay at each one of your properties, and think about how much you would spend on a vacation for your family. Every year, let's say that you rent properties, you go to the mountains every year, you go to let's say the Smoky Mountains. How much are you spending on that property? I know that we just got back, it was like $4,000 for a week. That is basically all your expenses for a month for a mountain property. So, if you like to go to one location every year with your family or every other year, you can start to purchase a property in those areas. And then, now you are growing your portfolio, and, someone else is paying that mortgage, but you're also not spending that money that you would normally spend on your vacation to the Smoky Mountains. So lots of reasons to do short-term rentals, and you can see why this industry has blown up. And there are some things to consider. It's typically a lot higher entry point as far as how much cash you'll need to get started. It's not always true depending on how you do that, and there's many different strategies that you can take, but typically, you're gonna want at least $50,000-$60,000 minimum to start doing this, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys the easiest ways and maybe some more challenging ways to make this happen. Some people do like to buy distressed properties. It's a lot more work, because you can buy them under value and then renovate. And now you've got, a property that you can refinance and get cash out of. And it's just a longer process to when you're cash flowing. But that is something that people do. So, this is not for the faint of heart, and you definitely need to have, quite a bit of capital saved up before you really say, okay, I'm ready to do this. So that's the one downside. And there are some other downsides to short-term rentals, like, short-term rental versus a long-term rental. You're getting a lot more wear. Let's say the property I'm in right now, beachside, Wilana Beach, St. Augustine, sleeps 10 people. Well, you got 10 people in the house every single week. That's a lot of wear and tear. Think about the normal wear and tear that happens on your own home, and then you want to double that, right? Because you got people bringing suitcases in and out, and maybe there's kids running around, and there's a lot of use is happening in that property. So you do have to have the mindset that I know my property is going to get dinged up and things are going to get worn out. And that's just the cost of doing business. Too often I see people start doing vacation rental and then, their table gets a scratch and they're just so stressed about how could they do this and this table. And it's like, you gotta remove the emotion out of it and really look at it as this is a business, and that is the cost of doing business. And yes, we can hold guests accountable and we can make them pay for things, but you also have to understand that it's just part of the business. Towels are gonna go missing, silverware is gonna go missing, things like that. It's gonna be, those little things that you have to keep investing in over time. Also, we're going to heavily go into regulations and HOA. So, there's a huge push in the industry because hotels hate short-term rentals because it cuts into their profit. There's a lot of huge corporate ran hotels. They have a lot of money, they have a lot of power, they lobby, and they will actually lobby for laws to be implemented so that short-term rentals are illegal. You guys may have heard of in New York City, they banned all short-term rentals, and that really stinks for those property owners because they are reliant on that rental income, to pay the bills. And it's sad, but those corporations are, they don't really care. They don't care about the little guy. They don't care about the property owners. They care about their pockets. So, you'll really want to research whatever market. We're going to go in depth. I'm going to show you guys how to find regulations. There's city, county, and state regulations to be conscious of. I do offer one-on-one coaching. So if this is something that you're serious about and you really want to find a market, we can go in on that and, really drill down where you need to be investing in. I'm going to talk a little bit about what cities to avoid, because there are some regulations coming down the pipeline in certain cities. And like, for example, New York City just banned. So there's some that you'll want to stay away from completely. But I'll also talk about where it's really safe. And where it's safe typically is where you have a state that is pro property owner rights. Like, for example, Florida, Tennessee, Texas. Those areas are amazing. There's many others. There's just a few examples of places that it's pretty safe. Like here in Florida, we rely heavily on tourism and we're very pro property owner rights. And so this is a great market to invest in. There's some areas that don't allow it, but for the most part, most areas allow the short-term rentals and they welcome that. The other thing we're gonna have to talk about is HOA regulations, because having a homeowners association adds another layer of rules and regulation that we have to follow. So I really like to try to buy non-HOA if possible. Sometimes you can buy an HOA and it's a good thing, especially because we do have actual vacation resorts that are HOA. And those are great to purchase in because, they're really pro vacation rentals, right? So we're going to talk about that, what to avoid. We're going to talk about design mistakes to avoid. I'm bringing in my personal designer that does almost all my vacation rentals. You're going to get to go tour, get to hear from her exactly how she thinks about a property, how to set it up for, the maximum revenue, the maximum ROI, and, something that you can enjoy too, of course.